Vince Coleman was working very close to the site of the blast, perhaps 750 feet away at Richmond Station, which was one of the main marshalling yards for trains coming in to Halifax, to the shipping piers. On the morning of the blast, there were two ships in a constricted channel in Halifax, a channel called the Narrows. One, the Emo, was a ship that was chartered to carry relief supplies to Belgium. The other, the Mont Blanc, was a munition ship that was carrying roughly 3 tons of high explosives. Due to errors of navigation, the ships struck in this narrow channel. The Mont Blanc caught fire. It had a deck load of petroleum products which ignited the high explosives in its hold, resulting in a blast that killed nearly 2,000 people and that devastated a very large section of the city. Vince was working at a place called Richmond Depot right alongside the Narrows, so he would have seen the Mont Blanc on fire. And then he would have seen the crew of a small boat coming ashore. Two of the naval vessels in the harbor had dispatched small boats to investigate the fire. They learned that it was a munition ship that was on fire and put ashore and told the people at Richmond Depot that there was, in fact, this large cargo of high explosives in imminent danger of exploding. So Vince Coleman, realizing the peril that the city was in, returned to his telegraph key and sent out messages to the outside world, alerting them to this imminent catastrophe. There was, in particular, a large passenger train coming into the city, the number 10 train, which was an overnight express from St. John, New Brunswick. And according to most sources, he was able to hold that train up before it entered the city, thereby preserving the lives of all on board, because the train ran directly past the spot where the explosion occurred. He most certainly alerted the outside world to the imminence of this catastrophe. If he had not sent out his messages, the lines simply would have gone dead, and the outside world would have had no idea what had happened to Halifax, because communications facilities were disrupted by the blast. So by Vince Coleman sending out that message, at every stop down the line, all the way to central Canada and the central United States, realized that Halifax was suffering a disaster, and as a result they were able to marshal relief supplies very quickly. So by the evening of December 6th, the day of the blast, at least 6 separate trains of relief supplies had arrived from other points in the Maritime provinces and immediately started the work of relieving those who had been injured, wounded by the blast.